God is not an object. Do not search the sky for him, nor carve her face in stone. God is not a throne, not a name, not a shape you can carry in your palm. God is not an object. God is the breath before you know you're breathing, the silence that holds your questions without needing to answer. God is not out there. God is the shimmer in your marrow when you stop performing, the pulse that asks nothing but to move through you unresisted. The mind says, where? The heart whispers, here. And in that instant of recognition, you fall through yourself into the boundless presence that was never apart. God is not an object. God is the field that makes even this word God dissolve. And let's try together to give words to what we're pointing to here, and to stay in the non-dual state, in the non-dual appreciation of the oneness that we are. Let's see how far we can go in talking about something that we actually cannot talk about, describing something that we most probably all have experienced, but that is beyond words, and try to be very clear, very concrete, and at the same time be very aware to speak from that place of oneness and non-duality, and that place where the absolute and the relative, the transcendent and the manifest, are not distinct. Because I think in the end, and that's what all the big traditions point to, there is no distinction. Because there is only one. But that one is us moving, that one is all of us living our lives, putting in our own conscious effort and vision and effort to create more beauty, truth, and goodness. But it's not isolated. It's not something that separates us from the oneness. It's this one single process moving through us into the future, second by second, step by step. So I want to invite probably first Sarah and Vincent and Rick, if you want to add anything, or if you want to connect your own experience to what we are pointing to here.
Yes, maybe to, because you already transmitted, and to add that the experience of non-duality, or having a pure experience of God, of non-duality, a non-dual experience, it's good, but it's not enough. That means that we can quickly still keep a distance or separation, saying I had an experience of non-duality, and then that means that I just lost it. So that means we still have to just stopping making ideas of or labeling, and also what shocks me, and I remember Andrew was really pushing on that, is this is natural. This is a natural state, and for us it seems strange to have a non-dual experience or experience of non-duality, but this is our nature. So we build so many layers of ideas or concept, but it's also important to remind that when there is nothing, it's there. It's always, and it's true, always true.
Yeah, what's so powerful about this non-dual position is that it moves all the separation away in an instant. And all the ideas that there is a separation of this moment of who we are, of who's speaking and who's listening, and then God. That it is God speaking and listening and understanding and manifesting as us. And I find it very overwhelming to really let in this non-separation now.
Mm.
And also to see that it's a very deep and subtle shift, because everything is still there. Also making distinctions and also knowing what's up and down and in and out and small and big self. But it's held from this infinite knowing that this is God trying to understand God from this place of not already knowing, and also from this place of infinite knowing. And I really appreciate what you say, Daniela, because it feels impossible to talk about. But I also really sense that when we do it anyway, it something happens in our awareness. Something happens between us. Something becomes alive between us. And it comes with enormous humility and enormous responsibility of really allowing this to be true right now. And again, what's so beautiful and powerful in Andrew's teaching is that it also becomes very obvious that surrendering and responding is the same. There's a deep call for manifesting, speaking and responding in this deep surrender that is one with this non-dual recognition.
Yeah, what I also find so interesting describing the state is how much there is so much attentiveness to awareness to what is and what needs to be in the next moment. There is this attention that we kind of know from meditation, but even speaking and living and doing has this quality of not only listening but being attentive to what wants to be. It's almost like this intense awareness of what is the right next step, and then responding to that. No, I almost get the feeling like, oh, this is how the universe unfolds. It's always this seeing what is, and then responding appropriately and with the right measures, with the right action, with the right, because when the separation is gone, everything can actually be let in and responded to without the filters of conditionings that often make us too narrow in what we think is the right thing to do.
And there's also a process that disappears in this directness, because it's direct responding from the oneness. So when you were just speaking, Daniela, it also seems like this process that happens if it does not come from this freedom kind of narrows in the availability, the answer, but there's this very distinct quality of directness, very direct. It's very raw.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that deeply resonates, this rawness, and it's like the immediacy of this suchness. And it seems the alignment is not speaking about it always. It's always speaking from here. It feels like that's the only way to honor it, in a way to be aligned with the mystery, is not stepping back. It's kind of being separate from it and speaking about it. It feels like being I want to say inside, but there's no outside or inside, but it's being this and speaking from here. And somehow that feels aligned, and it feels profound, and it feels surrendered, even, that I am this always right now, and never separate, and I can only respond as this. The only way to admit and honor this, it can't be held. It can only be a living in immediate response as this, it seems. Where there's a spontaneity of surrendering as this. And somehow, I don't know how to say it, but somehow feeling that this is what I am. Yeah. And never stepping out of, and that was I am, is what I am. It's always this is what I am. And
And also in the non-dual position, that also includes when I don't feel it, which is also the liberation. That even when I don't feel it, I still know that this is the truth. This is, and then I can still speak from that knowing. And that's also like a very subtle duality that we often put in. This is also what you were speaking to, Vincent, that we seek this as an experience, which is, but it's also a knowing.
Yeah, exactly. In the end, it's a being, but not in the being and becoming sense. It's I am that. No, it's when God is not an object, then God is the subject, and then who is the subject? I am the subject always, and to let that in. That if God is not an object, she can only be the subject, and to allow ourselves to be that and to live from that place is overwhelming, as you said, Sarah. Look, it's like it makes you stop, and at the same time you can feel the truth of it and the relevance for living an awake life.
Yeah, and also like diving into oneness, having this position is really dissolves any kind of border. And it was also very present in your little poem at the beginning, Daniela. It dissolves everything, no border at all. in myself and outside and with outside. So it's really like an invitation to really have a shift of identity from me as my personal life and personal way of seeing everything to I don't know really what, as you say, nothing and something at the same time, and really embracing that position inside in order to, and also, as you said, really to be very attentive, to pay attention, and to let go, and to be open to everything what can arise at that moment. It's really a big, big invitation, and yeah. Mm.
Mm. Would anybody else like to add something? I think the mics are open, or can be opened.
I'm kind of having this sense of a metaphor of how do I speak about now, as if it's not now speaking. And so it's kind of this direct realization that now is always now speaking. It's never not now. There's nothing outside of now speaking about now. It's the immediateness of now speaking. And it kind of feels the same as this. It's stepping into a direct ongoing realization that I am this, and this is always seeing and creating, never not.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's not this, I don't know what to say, that a little bit of separation of this and that, then and now. It's only now here, speaking, seeing, creating. And it's always a mystery, it seems like, and even as it's being expressed, it's in it right now. It feels like a mystery, and yet paradoxically, we are expressing, creating.
That is so fascinating, isn't it? It's impossible to describe it, and we can all sense that something is here, present right now, and is creating the future, and is leaning into the future and into the knowledge and into the truth of it, as you say, all the time, in every single moment. And at least trying to describe it or aspects of it seems to have a power in itself. It's not for nothing. That's so fascinating, no?
And that feels like the participation that is required. It feels in this active admitting and participating, this somehow substantiates itself more. It feels like it, and that's hard to explain what that substantiation is, but it feels like it becomes more and more of a living beingness that's living and creating, and I am that. And it feels very important how that participation, if it's a participation from a separateness, it's I don't know how to say, but it's it feels like a substantiation separateness rather than oneness. And this requires a participation as what I am to substantiate more of what I am, to realize more of what I am.
Would you like to say something?
Sure.
What fascinates me is that it is in line with the natural state. And there's at least something I can have as an example. And in the moment when everything seems right, without reflecting on myself, I can sense that I am the natural state. And for the rest, I think there are two kind of mantras. It's not really a mantra, but one is the friend you will never be able to see. Another one is to love God like loving nobody. So it's putting there, and it's kind of a mystery, and at the same time there's a connection.
Mm-hmm.
And that's open, this endlessly open and complete mystery, this friend, or this love for God, although it's nobody. So it's yeah, that's for me kind of quintessence of what my communication towards the God or the being or the natural state is, in fact. And it encompasses everything if you believe it. Also the trust and the surrender and the devotion, in a sense, and the seeing it everywhere. So the presence of it. Yeah.
It's probably interesting also to realize that what we are describing today, this state of I am that, I am God, this is my natural state, is what Andrew, in the lineage of Ken Wilber, often described as the first phase of God. And I think it's good we stay with this description of the first phase of God for this session. But it will be interesting probably another time to go into the second phase of God and the third phase of God, which are different aspects, how you can try to approach the concept of God. But for today, with the title of God is not an object, it's fully embracing the fact that we are this oneness that we can call God. I am that. I am that in deep meditation, and I am that in living my life, in creating, in moving the universe forward towards a better future, and to embrace that fully and non-dually. And there are many other ways to talk about God, but for today, I find it very compelling to stay with this full embrace of, yes, I am that. Can I bear it? Can I so fully embrace it that I can feel the overwhelming beauty of it and the overwhelming responsibility that comes with it? Because, for example, it means in no situation I can be a victim. Because if I am that, then it's all me. It's me making the choices. It's me taking responsibility. It's me facing everything and avoiding nothing. It's me, the process. And it's me that has the realization that it's for the sake of the whole, for the sake of the universe, every single step, every second of leaning in from this present moment, as Rick so beautifully described, always from this present moment that we lead in. And it means so much for the purpose of our life when we really let it in.
Just to respond to that, but it could be, I don't know, I can't say this for any certainty, obviously, but there even feels a little difference between saying I am that versus I am this. this is what I am. Because that, for me, has a sense of that out there in a way. It's just slightly different. It could be me, but it's like,
no, you are the native speaker. I am not. That's a very good point, Rick. Thank you.
and then yes, this,
Yeah.
all of this
Yeah.
is what I am. There's nothing about this that I am not. And then that somehow then I'm inside of this. I am this. There's nothing, there's no that at all. That doesn't exist even from here, it seems like. Yeah.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
And when we embrace that position fully, we see how important the human life is, because it carries that consciousness. It has that potential and opportunity to realize it, to embrace it, to become that. And it's incredible how important to actually embrace it and realize it, and have that knowledge always, not to forget it.
I really also appreciate, and it's seemingly a paradox, but it's not, because it's so overwhelmingly everything that it's a mystery to let in. And at the same time, it is so simple. When you said before, Rick, that it's only the now that can speak, it's just like, yes, it cannot, I mean, it's only an idea that it's not now. And when these moments also hit us, when we see the simple truth of it, not as something difficult to understand or embrace, but it's just very, very, I really appreciate how Andrew often said, do you have the courage to allow it to be this simple? Because sometimes the simplicity of how true it is that there is only one, and it is now. It's very, very simple and extremely overwhelming and liberating. But I love these moments where it's just so clear. It's not difficult to understand. It's not, you don't have to, it's just like, of course. It's only now that can speak. Yeah. And this joy of the simplicity of it, also just allowing that.
And not only now can speak, only now can change and create change. That's also interesting. No? I was just thinking, how often do we contemplate about something in the past that there is no use for that? It's always in the now where change can happen, where growth can happen, where new insights can actually form new realities. Marilyn? Yes.
I'd like to share something. I'm
Yes,
Nancy.
please.
I have to put my name on there.
Nancy. Yeah.
Thank you. Gosh, I really like this group. I liked when you were talking, Danielle, about creativity and enjoying being with Vincent so much, and the self, just the one, and being together in that place. And I loved hearing that. And I also thought I couldn't do this with consciously with my other my family would be like, they think I'm crazy anyway, but that's fine. And but it helped me, because I've come from a long tradition of seeking and spiritual practices and all that, and I through Yogananda, and then went back through Ramana Maharshi, and then I just found Andrew 2 months ago, okay, and didn't even know he'd passed on, but it just kept appearing, this non-duality, and this is a long-winded thing. I apologize. I have been struggling with, being an artist, not being an artist, like giving up everything, but I still have this great drive to create. And so then I heard you, talking about creating, and then I also have a terrible fear of it too. It's like, staring at a blank canvas is terrifying, and that's what the ego's involved. So anyway, it just helped me a lot today. I really appreciate being here. Thank you so much.
Nancy, what would be good for you, because you are new to Andrew and his teaching, and you come from the more Advaita lineage, if you send me an email on the contact form, then I can send you probably a talk or two where Andrew, because it's too much to cover it for today, but Andrew talks about 3 levels of how the evolutionary impulse shows up, like as the sexual impulse, as the creative impulse for artists, and then as the urge to become more conscious. And it's all driven by the evolutionary impulse, and it's a very beautiful teaching that makes you understand much more how important it is to align with the evolutionary impulse, but also make these distinctions that being creative in art is not exactly the same as being creative in expanding consciousness or becoming more conscious, or as how the sexual impulse expresses itself. I find it always such an important and valuable description of what we mean when we say we want to align with the evolutionary impulse. There are different levels how we can do it, which are all valid, but I find it very helpful. And I'm sure I find a few talks where he talks about that.
I think I'm on your email list. So, is that what you're talking about? Sending it to me through that?
Yeah, Nancy. You want to give me your email address here in the chat?
Sure, I can do that. Thank you.
Yeah, good.
Thank you.
Yeah, Diane?
I just want to say that at one level, words, there are no words without diminishing sort of what is occurring or what is possible. And yet words are all we have to bring for this oneness. And then the words that really grabbed me today are humility, embracing, trust, and responsibility. But and I'm so grateful for you, Daniela. I have watched the videos, the conversations, and found without reason, like just compelling, like I just had to listen to the next one and the next one. And I have maybe what's a small self intention to really change the workplace in it, but I feel like I've been given this intention through me, and now I have to develop the godliness in me to bring it into reality. But it feels kind of like backwards, like for 30 years I've had this intention that, like I said, feels like it's not me. It's just come through me. I can't explain it, but I haven't developed the oneness, the consciousness to that's what needs to happen to marry the two of the being and the becoming. I can't say more because.
But you know what is the good news for you, Diane? I can give you the good news. What you are describing is beautiful. And the thing is, it doesn't take any time. what you are describing. You don't need time to develop whatever you feel needs to be developed, because it's already there. And you seem to know already where it all comes from. So just becoming conscious and embrace the fact that you are this is enough for liberation. It doesn't need time. This kind of insights are immediate. There is no time involved. It's just the realization. And then the constant, that's a dual way of saying it, but it's also true, a constant surrender to the realization and not doubting the realization, because the small self is sneaking in from time to time and tries to tell you that there is time involved, but don't believe it. There is no time involved. It's just a realization. It's right there. And we can feel it today. It's right here, not there, here. Rick.
Thank you.
Thank
Very
you.
grateful.
Anybody from the other group in our oneness, from the other group, wants to say something? You don't have to.
Daniela, I wonder if we could speak to some of the difficulties that can arise. I had a lot of trouble kind of it's like my engine stopped and I couldn't re-engage.
Mm-hmm.
And it lasted for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And it was also, you know, I had a lot of things going on that were actually difficult life situations. But this, it was like I was kind of stopped in my tracks, and I couldn't become re-interested in engaging. You know, it was like, yeah, all the life energy, the life force just wasn't there.
Mm-hmm.
And I had been very, very engaged in life, and you know, and then it was just not there. And it's been years, and I'm you know, it's not like things didn't happen, because it's like the tracks were, it's the kind of blueprint of this life was still engaged, right? And so the small I is just following that track, you know, just in the track. But yeah, anyway, I think that I don't know if I asked the question adequately.
I understand the question. I think I would probably, my first question back would probably be, do you have a sangha or a teacher or a structure that helps you keeping engaged with what we were describing today here?
Yeah, I don't currently. I mean, I was with City Yoga, so I met Muktananda many years ago, and City Yoga for a long time, and then you know, part of I sort of lost interest, and then but yet I didn't. I mean, I was living it, but I was like, yeah, I don't want to talk about it. Like, what the heck, right? It was.
No. The thing is that the part that loses interest, as you know as well as I do, is not the big self. No, so
Yeah.
there is always, like, when ego gets into the driver's seat, as Andrew always said, then ego never is interested in what we are doing here, and ego never will be interested in the
Right.
liberation that we are pointing to. And therefore, for me, literally the only answer is that we need people to do this together. I think only the rare person can do it alone, and we need a sangha, and that's what we are trying to find out right here, how this how this will work with Andrew having passed away. And that's the reason why we are hanging in there and feel, many of us that are here today feel like we have each other, and that keeps us awake, and we want to keep ourselves awake, and we want to be available for each other to keep us awake, because this is, and then you get the inspiration again and again and again and again, and when you see that, oh, it actually works, we can inspire each other. The spark is always here. There is nothing else needed, but doing it alone.
Yeah, I really get that. I was involved in the integral movement with Wilbur, and Andrew was a part of that. Sally Kempton, and so all of that, those years were great. But yeah, more recently, Adyashanti was someone I worked with for a while, and he's also not teaching. So yeah, I think I'll stay with this group. That'll be
cool.
good.
That's great. Come to India in January.
That sounds good.
Well, I mean it. We are a nice group doing the retreat here, 6-day meditation and conversation retreat.
Okay. I'll look at it
here
online.
at the foot of Arunachala. Have you been in Tiruvannamalai?
No.
Then you should come and see Ramana Ashram and our beautiful ashram here.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
You know that I am in India. Yeah, I live in Tiruvannamalai. Andrew was living here we were living here the last 5 years before he died. Yeah, come.
Yeah.
And everybody else too. So, is there anything else anybody would like to add, or have we come to a nice end?